the brand new Rlaarlo Omni-Terminator. Now, normally I do Nitro related videos. As you could see, we have Nitros all over the background. But once in a while, an electric so unique, so new, and so feature packed comes out that you just gotta get it and show it the Nitros in the background. Well, guys, I'm gonna open this up. We'll do an unboxing, a look over the chassis, talk about the unique features it has, including carbon fiber inserts in the suspension arms. We have a gyro. We have 7075 aluminum parts, 2.4 gigahertz radio, 3 differentials, and a top speed of 50. All this and more for under $300. In fact, at the time of this video, you can pick one of these up. This is the top carbon version for about $250. I'll put a link for this in the description to this video. First, let's talk a little bit about the box itself. It came shipped exactly as you see here. Only a real small amount of box damage, but that's literally not even a big deal. Now, as I said previously, our version is the carbon fiber version. Now, more on this later. I highly recommend this is the version you get. There are 3 total versions. This is the highest of the levels. There is also a regular alloy and a roller. It does have a couple of really unique carbon fiber chassis components. We'll open them up as we keep going. So notice the top of the box says 45 or 60. The 60 amp ESC is the one I have. That is the carbon version, as I said previously. Something to keep in mind as we are doing the review, this model is not exactly a 1/10 scale. Even though they say the oversized gearbox with 1/10 ratio gears assembled in the vehicle makes it more durable and more reliable in high torque operation. That is true. So it is using, in fact, larger 10th scale drivetrain, but the chassis itself, well, it's a more manageable, I would call it a 12th scale, and there's literally nothing wrong with that. We do have a center diff, and, well, I'm gonna shut up and open up the box, because that's what you guys came here to see. Or did you come here to see a lot of those Nitros right above this particular RC? But like I said, as long as you got a lot more Nitros, you can get an electric. And this one is real feature packed. Okay, there we go. Real well packed inside. No damage of any kind. We have a Rlaarlo giant bag of accessories. I'm going to go over all of these accessories. This is probably the most accessorized RC I've ever seen. That's the truth right there. All right, we have the car. It's real well packed. The wheels are removed. They will be in these cardboard boxes. We do have the radio. I'll open up the radio in a little bit. Let's take out the car itself. Like I said, real well packed. On the inside there, they have good space for the wheels. The wheels, you know, pretty normal size. I would say pretty average soft compound. They do look like the trencher style wheel design. Good looking rim. Got nothing bad to say about them. Most important thing is industry standard 12 millimeter wheel hub. Very important. You don't want to be buying RCs with proprietary size wheel hubs. That is the last thing you want to do. I've laid out everything it came with. Let's take a look at the body, then we'll get some batteries in there. The body, the first thing I can tell, it is real well protected. The carbon one only comes in one color, which is black, but that's okay. They also want to be your friend on WhatsApp, so go tell Rlaarlo Hybrid sent you. Tell them hell yeah, and the Omni-Terminator is great, but you also want them to make a Nitro. So there we go. Get them on Amazon as well. But as you should expect, I'll put a link for this so you feel confident shopping from a place that is recommended by this channel. Out of the box, you do have to do a little bit of assembly, but that's okay. You know, oftentimes smaller packaging does result in cheaper cost. And something like this, high functionality and cheap cost is what you want. So we're going to put the wheels on a little bit after I remove these plastic wheel axle protectors. Actually, you know what? These aren't even plastic. I was incorrect. This is legitimately silicone. Wow. It's so protective, I can't even remove it. I got lucky. You just got to unscrew it. Never have I ever come across a piece of silicone tubing that you just literally unscrew. This is remarkable, remarkable engineering. Multi-purpose is what I would call this. Extreme levels of multi-purposeness. Synergy, even. So, as I do this, let's talk a little bit about what you have to do. This also does feature a wheelie bar, and that is going to be real useful for bashing. The body itself, you have included pins that are held together like that. Real convenient, nice. Look at those mirrors, guys. You almost can shave in that mirror, almost. Don't try shaving, you're going to cut yourself, but you almost can shave. The body, along with having captured pins, does have a quite unique protection system. Let's take the body off and we'll take a look at the underside, because that really will tell us all of the points of protection on the body. Yeah, so a lot of hardware there on top. We have like a roof skid plate, a rear plastic protector. Generally, when these things flip, the rear bed in any RC is literally the weakest point. This point will be the first to tear, but you have real thick, replaceable plastic here that it's going to absorb a lot of impact. And I think, guys, Rlaarlo here gets a big shout out to that. Now, the chassis in the front, one major thing sticks out. We got a light bar. If you take a look, it does have relatively giant 10 scale shocks. It has captured shock caps on top with protection on them. And the aluminum on this, that shock tower, guys, I just measured it. It is literally 4mm aluminum, front and rear. Now, name me anything in the 12th scale segment that has 4mm thick aluminum 70-75 shock towers. Now, this is the kind of stuff that is basically put into legitimate racing truggies and buggies. And Rlaarlo was, well, they managed to put into something that's basically about 250 bucks. Will hit 50 miles an hour. Comes with a 3S battery and a gyro. Let's take a look at the bag of major accessories, or as some people call them, goodies. This is a lot of stuff, my dudes. This is a lot of stuff. And this thing actually has features that no other RTR has. So here we have the wheelie bar, pretty beefy. The hardware screws are in a different bag, so we have to install this. That's a pretty good touch. We do have a USB included 3S charger. Nice touch. Obviously, you could run pretty much any 3S you want. This is something quite interesting. These are telemetry leads for your receiver to tell you the voltage on your radio. Now, keep in mind, only this model, the carbon fiber version, has this, because you need the more upgraded radio tech. So that is real nice. You could choose to use that or not. Me personally, you kind of know when your low voltage is about to go in because the car barely moves, right? That's kind of how it is. Here we have our tools, speed pinion. We have the wheel nuts, a couple wrenches, and a couple extra seals for the differentials. Now, name me a brand that gives you extra seals for diffs. I don't know of one. You do have the included battery installation hardware, which will enable you to run a more standard, larger 10 scale battery. We have zip ties along with Velcro battery straps. Nice touch. Obviously, if you install a larger battery, you're going to need larger battery straps. We have some additional stickers over here. I might put these on my real car. I don't know, maybe it'll go even faster, although it's deniable if it will, because it's a Nissan Rogue. They're pretty fast as it is. This appears to be some kind of Rlaarlo towel. I am not sure. Let me open this up, because you know what? I am sitting under the hot lights right now. I need to wipe my forehead. Oh, this is like a little mat or a flag. I thought it was a towel for when you're running really fast and you get sweaty. But no, this appears to just be like a little Rlaarlo Omni-Terminator promo thing. Pretty dope, though. You know, they didn't have to do that. Here we got ourselves the required assembly guide for 4 wheels. So as I said, the wheels do have to be installed. So it's basically almost ready to go. Simple, put the wheels on and you are good. On the back, we have the wheelie bar installation guide. Good for beginners. For me, I pretty much understand. You put a screw in, it goes in, and then your wheelie bar is attached, right? But for beginners, it's nice. We have another sticker sheet over here. Here we have the alloy modification kit leaflet, I would say. So you can upgrade a lot of these parts to alloy, but I really do highly recommend you stick to the plastics, run it as is. But you know, a lot of people like to hop things up, so this is your guide to hopping it up. Next, we have the instruction manual. Now, guys, this manual is real thick. It's fat. I think this manual is actually fatter than our RC Car Action magazine. Just to show you I wasn't kidding. Yep, there it is. Rlaarlo manual and RC Car Action magazine. Actually, the manual has more literature in it than the modern RC Car Action magazine, which has always been known to feature great articles, great reviews, and many cool models. Today, if you want to read something, open this up. So I looked it over just before. They have really good exploded parts views. You can see how this thing is put together. A lot of interesting information. Notice right here, they have some information on the transmitter. I'm glad I randomly flipped to this page because this radio, you could easily run a JST plug 2S LiPo or AA batteries. Real convenient. Here we have some information about the chassis. You guys could read it if you want. As for me, I am about ready to put the batteries into this, what appears to be quite complicated 6-channel radio. Oh, wow. We have actual knobs over here we can turn. You know what? You don't see stuff like this on a car of this price point. Okay, so here we go. If you want to unplug the AA battery tray, you could, or feel free, pop in some reliable alkaline AA's. Personally, for me, I don't mind using the AA's. They last a long time. And when you get them on sale, you save even more money. But the option of using a 2S LiPo, that is honestly a real useful feature for something of this price point. Okay, gonna power it on. Got a little Mario song over there. Okay, so 5-6 volts, pretty much correct. I think these batteries are pretty fresh. If you had the telemetry sensor plugged into the receiver, you could see the actual onboard voltage for the 3S. But maybe I'll plug that in. Maybe I will not plug that in. But pretty good radio. 3rd channel. Also, we have, oh yeah, one-handed driving control. The beefiness of the suspension and where the carbon fiber components are. So right here in the middle, we could see 2 real fat carbon fiber chassis support stiffeners. Also, the suspension arms themselves have carbon fiber inlays. Now, that really prevents a lot of flex. Normally, you do want your suspension arms to have some flex. The top one is just a regular plastic nylon one. But on the bottom, we do have the real nice carbon fiber inlays. And these aren't just little printed pieces of carbon fiber. This is in fact legitimate. I could see the layers of woven carbon fiber. Wheels are on, and first impressions, guys. This thing actually has really nicely tuned differentials. Now, normally, unlike anything RTR out of the box, the diffs are completely loose. This one, I can spin it. It feels equally heavy and well-tuned as the rear. Kind of like on more of the Pro Nitro buggies that I've run over the years. So somebody took the time and legitimately tuned the diffs. Well, guys, with the body off, I think we should turn it on. Thank you, Rlaarlo, for your song. All right, another notable feature. We do have an industry standard XT60 connector. So pretty much any battery will work. Oftentimes, a lot of smaller brands will have smaller RCs, oftentimes smaller RC models will have relatively proprietary battery sizes, which limits you in the type of batteries you can run. So I'm going to swing this thing around. The power button, check that out. Dedicated area for the power button. I think even with the body on, this will be relatively easy to turn on. Just reach with your finger like that, press it, and wait. And that's it. It's on. It's arming. I could see the LED on the ESC is red, and the motor is spinning. Let's check out the servo. Oh, man. That is actually quick. That is real fast for a servo. You are not going to have to upgrade this at all. Also, metal gears on the inside. Forward. Whoa, that was scary. Pretty nice. Brakes, reverse. All right, I like that. The reverse is set to maybe a quarter of a max. That's really good. I don't like to have full reverse. I mean, dude, that thing on 3S, I just pressed it. It like rocked the whole table. I could hear both of the fans spinning now, and that's nice because we're going to be getting a good amount of cooling. Really pretty clean chassis layout on this. What about the lights? You guys want to see the lights? Notice they're off. I bet you all were thinking that this thing has broken lights. No. Channel 5 on the radio. I'm going to press channel 5. You could put the lights on or off. They're kind of like an amber light. I actually do like it. Notice my hand is lit up real well. I could probably cut my cuticles right now if I wanted to. So, real nice touch. I got to learn a little more about the gyro system, but at least we got the lights going. This thing actually does look like a bit of a beast with that light in the front. Let me check out the stock suspension. I would say perfect dampening out of the box. Real good spring return rate. A soft and yet firm enough to take some jumps. The rear feels a little more over dampened. The front is a little more springy, which is probably what you want. I gotta say, this little beast with that wheelie bar installed, I'm gonna enjoy running it. In terms of size, I've put up a couple models that I have that could pretty much properly relate the size of this new Rlaarlo Omni-Terminator. So all the way on the left is a proper 10th scale Traxxas Nitro Rustler. From the top you could tell it's only a little bit longer there on the wheelbase. Next to it we have the Savage XS. This is one of the best of the 12th scale HPI models. In fact, I've had that one for quite some time. But notice, the wheels are exactly the same size, but the Omni-Terminator is in fact just a little bit longer. Now next to the Savage XS, we have the much smaller Traxxas 1/16 scale Mini Rally. From the top down, you really get a good perspective. Omni-Terminator, honestly, I think occupies the perfect niche for the size. About ready to go run it, I just want to show you guys, I did install some of the included stickers. So we do have the lights over here. I'm getting kind of Nissan Titan vibes, or maybe F-150 here in the front headlights. And in the rear, not particularly sure what that is. Now that it is fully built, I do want to install the included telemetry sensor. But before I do that, I do want to point out a couple really notable features I noticed that might have been overlooked by other reviewers because they basically just put videos together, put them through the ringer, put them on YouTube. They don't really care about the depth of information in their videos for their audience. But I noticed the little things that count. So the first notable feature, well, the rear wheelie bar is actually a perfect grab handle. Oftentimes you gotta like pick these things up like that. They're dirty. It's quite annoying. Here, stick your fingers in, pick it up by the back, and carry it. Real convenient, no issues. The second unique notable features, also oftentimes you go and you want to turn it on, but guess what? The body is on, so you got to take your finger, you got to stick it under the shell, and it cuts your finger, right? You got to go like this. It's not very convenient. Notice the location of that power switch. They really understand proper power switch placement. You could easily take your finger, Go like that, put it on, and guess what? The power switch, in fact, even lights up. I'm going to put a little picture here of what it looks like in the dark, but honestly, that is the perfect placement of a power switch. Usually, these power switches are kind of just like off-the-shelf afterthoughts. They put them anywhere. On this model, it is a perfect placement and literally looks like it is meant to be part of the chassis there. I can totally appreciate that. A couple other features I might have overlooked in the unboxing. I do want to say we do have full sway bars front and rear right there. I'm pointing to the sway bars. That is a real nice touch. The voltage telemetry sensor is basically simple. It's just 2 prongs that go into the balance port of the LiPo, and the other side of the connection has a dedicated port in the receiver. We're gonna plug it in right there, EXTV, and that's it. We're gonna have lifetime telemetry. Battery voltage telemetry sensor is installed, looks pretty good. You're not really making any holes over here. There's a nice convenient port area in the back for routing the wires. Only problem is now obviously to charge the LiPo, you will have to remove these 2 leads each time. What you can do to clean this up if you want to use this, there are adapters that are put onto the balance port that can relocate these leads, but for now this is how it is. Let's check out the system. I'm gonna put the radio on, okay, and the car. We should see live voltage right there on the receiver. There we go, 12.4 volts. Telemetry sensor active and working. Alright guys, it's time to do the first run. I'm gonna start off with a little bit onboard video. It is a real windy day. I am running the stock pinion, so this is not the speed pinion. Let's see what it's got. Just did a speed pass, guys. I reviewed the footage and we got ourselves 37 miles per hour. Take a look at the telemetry. We are at 12 volts right there on the battery. That means I have a little bit of juice left. Let's see what else it's got. Now this road isn't very straight, and of course for this particular test I actually had the gyro turned off because the camera on the back makes the gyro a little wonkier than normal. But honestly, with the stock gear pinion, we got 37, not bad. You know what? The brakes are like literally perfect. They're so good that it stops on a dime, but really doesn't have a tendency to want to flip over. Oh my God, impressive brakes on this one. I'm gonna try to do a full brake from far away, full brake at top speed. Let's see what happens. Goal is not to do a front flip. Oh, it almost did it, but it stopped. It stopped itself. Yeah, this thing even does little wheelies. Keep in mind, it does have a center diff. So the center diff is, of course, splitting the power from front to rear. You get the perfect amount going to the back to do a bit of a wheelie. There you go, wheelie bar, useful, real useful. And that's just a stock battery, everyone. .37 miles per hour wasn't bad, but you know what? They did include a speed pinion, and who am I not to test it out? So I've already disassembled what you have to do. There's a small little cover, just one screw holds it on, kind of comes out like that. We can remove the fan and the motor cooling accessory there, and you basically have access to your mesh adjustment screws. After that, it's just a simple matter of sliding out the original pinion. Keep in mind, they did use a ton of thread lock on that set screw, so it wasn't that easy. Did have to heat it up a little bit, but it did eventually come out. At least they did use a good amount of thread lock. The larger, tall speed pinion is this one on the right. You can clearly tell it does have a couple extra teeth compared to this factory original. Although I'm not dissatisfied with the original speed of 37. You know, I did have a pretty heavy camera on the back and it was windy. It could have probably approached 39 in optimal conditions. But we gotta try the taller pinion. I'm gonna put this in, then we're gonna go on another run. That's it. New pinion is installed. Let's just tie down the motor mounting screws here, the gear mesh screws. Get the rest of the equipment, the cooling accessories on, and it's ready. Real easy. You don't even have to drop the motor. Pretty clever use of adjustable motor mounts with easy access to the pinion here. By the way, make sure you use thread lock non-sparingly. Alright guys, the speed pinion is on, and I am ready to go on another pass. Pretty good stretch of pretty flat road right in front of me. Let's see what we can do. Keep in mind, 37 last time, cameras on the back of the car. Let's see if we could do 45 plus. It's gonna really be a challenge of keeping this thing straight. Also, the camera adds a little more to the instability in the rear end. Let's hit it. Man, this thing handles real... Flipped it. Well, I guess we're gonna see what the flip protection is like. This does have the auto flip feature, like the x-maxx, but personally, I don't want to use it. You know, I don't do these videos to destroy RCs. That is the opposite. First flip, I feel a little bad. This thing was clean. Oh man, look at that. Crash protection took all the damage. The body actually has literally nothing wrong with it. In the back, I could see a good amount of scraping there on the plastic and on the roof rails. Dude, this thing actually legitimately saved the body. It's real impressive. I don't see any scratches on the color portion at all.
It all started with the HDR racing RS4 and it will never end. It does not matter if the electric is a giant x-maxx. Hybrid only cares about nitro running rich and loud. Can he get a hell yeah? Stop the fire in the hole. Hell yeah, hybrid will never call a nitro a toy because the work survives. It will never quit, bringing old nitros back to life. That's how you make nitro great again. Can he get a hell yeah? Hell yeah.
Let's see if it still does wheelies with the speed pinion. Well, does it? Yes. It's a straight yes. You know what that means? That means we could handle a lot more power. Yeah, pretty much real easy wheelies, even with the speed gear installed. Real sickening, really.